Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back again. We're here for the Shanghai Dota 2 Open. It's going to be taking a look at game number 1, Newbee facing off against ehome. I'm Lyrical Dota, going to be joined by Eosin as well. We saw Newbee take a really nice series against Vici Gaming, but now they're going to be going up against what I think might be a little bit of tougher competition, and it's the team that actually was able to mount the incredible comeback that we casted previously against CDC. It's ehome. What do you think about these two teams facing off against each other?
It's a tough call. I think I would still favor Newbee here, just based off their previous or their recent performances. But like you said, closer matchup. I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah, it's looking like it could be a really good one. I'm excited for it either way. I was looking at ehome's drafts. They haven't played as many games as recently as Newbee has, just because they weren't at MDL and a couple other things that were going on there. But the one thing that did kind of stick out to me is they're very heavily focused on heroes that just take objectives, and even to the point where they ran a Visage twice. And I think both of the times that they did it, they were running it with the Drow Ranger, which was a little bit crazy to me. I don't think we're going to see it this time around because that was 6 days ago. They haven't run it since that time, so... but what do you think about the sort of meta and where we're at as far as where teams are prioritizing picks? Like, is there a particular hero or playstyle that's dominant right now?
Well, the most powerful one right now is definitely the Drow strat. And I think the current meta just revolves around playing the Drow strat and then playing against the Drow strat. So whoever has the Drow is going to be, obviously playing the Drow strat, and the other team is just setting up to counter that. And first pick Bat Rider, they have something in mind to deal with the Drow.
Yeah, definitely. This is what we saw, I think, in the previous game as well, was just the Bat Rider taken really early. But Newbee were able to deal with it pretty effectively. Actually, yeah, because they were the ones that had the Drow in the final game, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mixing that up, but the hero just seems so strong as well. Bat Rider, one of the, I think, highest win rates at MDL as well.
Earth Spirit.
I mean, Bat Rider is definitely one of those heroes that's just really good to deal with the Drow Ranger. But Newbee, why change what works? This is the third game with Drow Ranger, and people aren't banning it, so you might as well keep running it.
Absolutely. And guess that they're pretty comfortable with it. U9 plays it very well. I remember I was looking back through the replays, getting ready for sort of TI and watching it and being able to just think about how these teams were going to do. And I didn't remember, pretty much everybody was running Drow at that point. But Tong Fu particularly, who U9 previously played for, they were running it almost every game they could get their hands on it. It felt like they had a couple of other funky drafts that were built around it, but he definitely knows how to play the hero very well. ehome on the other side, though, are going to be taking that Earth Spirit. And I don't know if this is going to be a Garter or Lanham Earth Spirit. Do you know if one of them over the other plays it?
That's a good point. I'm actually not too sure. If I had to make a guess, I would say it's a Garter hero. Because I think they normally give Lanham the more aggressive. I mean, I think Earthshaker's pretty aggressive, but they'll probably pick him something even more aggressive, like Lion or something, for example.
Okay. And we'll see which way they want to go. I mean, either way, both of those players incredibly prolific at their respective positions, 4 and 5. So I think that either one of them could take it. But yeah, it's definitely always scary when you see a first phase Earth Spirit, just because I think it's something that if you're taking it that early, you probably have somebody that knows how to play it pretty well. And I mean, is it still just as strong as it always was as far as being able to roam early and make stuff happen?
Oh yeah, for sure. He's super annoying to deal with because he's someone who has to just. I mean, it's a hero that you have to be mindful of. It's kind of like playing against those. I don't think anyone really does it anymore, but it's similar to a support Potom or Mirana, for example. You just have to kind of be mindful of someone coming out of the fog and trying to gank you, whether it's an arrow or just an Earth Spirit rolling on you.
And I guess that it does maybe also fit well within the context of trying to get a hero that just gets on top of Drow Ranger. Earth Spirit does that pretty well. What do you think? I guess the Disruptor pick might make it less good, but what do you think about something like a Darkseer and trying to go aggressive in the off? Oh, I guess that they're going Bat Rider. We haven't seen a ton of Bat Rider mids. So yeah, I guess no. Oh, Tree. All right, that's a thing.
Interesting.
What do you think?
I feel like this hero is so rarely picked that it kind of goes against what I said about Lanham, but I guess it would pick it for Lanham because he'll probably say something like, "Yo, give me Treant," you know.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking back through their games, and they actually have run a Treant before, and it looks like they ran it in a lineup with an Alchemist, which is kind of interesting. I don't think that they tried to rush him in Ags or anything, but what is it like? What does this hero bring to the table? Is it just being able to be more aggressive early with that tree armor, or does it have to do again with like tower damage and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it's two really good points that you bring up is being able to play aggressively in the early stages by, giving someone who's capable of diving that armor, and also, protecting your towers from the drow pushes. If you're able to fend them off, then you can kind of reset the whole situation by just constantly armoring towers.
Well, it looks like when they ran it previously as well, I'm looking back through this, they took it with a Bat Rider and an Earth Spirit, and the other two heroes that went along with it was a Weaver and an Alchemist. So there's a chance that we might end up seeing that this time around. The Phoenix, at least for the moment, is going to be taken for Newbee. We saw Kaka play it to absolute perfection previously, and it's something that I feel like teams have to be kind of aware of. Like, you can just egg in and, I guess, take an objective.
Well, there's your diving hero with the Treant armor. It's also really good for Bat Rider as well, because you can Nature's Guise him, make him invisible, let him move around and scout freely, and then, all of a sudden a lasso comes through. Is a really good setup for Bat Rider.
Well, and Huskar is going to be that last ban out. Don't want to have to deal with those shenanigans. As ehome look at their last pick, Weaver, as we said, was something that they could have gone for. Is there anything that you feel like the ehome's draft is lacking in particular, or possibly that Newbee's draft that really is glaring towards you, or are you feeling like both are fairly well-rounded?
I feel like Newbee still has like the team fight. As long as they fight closely together, I think their team fight's pretty strong. Okay, I was gonna say ehome were lacking, burst damage, but I think with Morphling that kind of covers it. So overall, ehome has a pretty damn good lineup in my opinion.
Yeah, this is hard to deal with. I mean, Storm Spirit zipping in onto Drow. There's obviously Gust that you have to contend with, but is this still like what's that dynamic like? Is it pretty good for the Storm Spirit by and large?
5 seconds remaining.
I think it's actually a little rough for him because a lot of these heroes are really good against him. Disruptor, especially. Gust is nothing to scoff at. Slardar as well. Like if you're caught at all, that amplified damage is going to rip through you because Storm Spirits don't really pick up armor until much later into the game. Because you normally, you always see Bloodstone, you see Orchid, then potentially you'll see, Shivas or something like that. But until then, no armor. You're just going to die really, really fast.
Well, it's going to be a interesting matchup, that's for sure. And I definitely want to see how the Morphling Storm Spirit Treant Protector, I guess all of these heroes can really now just be enabled by it. And when we were looking at it, was Lanham that played the tree previously with Guardian taking that Earth Spirit. So maybe a bit of a switch into roles. Newbee now with one last pick on their minds. What are they going to take? I'm guessing they're looking for an SC hero. Invoker's already been banned. OD's gone.
Mid anti-mage? I mean, I feel like it would work. I don't think I've seen this in a while. I think the last time I saw that was like Mushi playing it or something. But I mean, if they know how to run it, I feel like anti-mage is a potential pick. If not that, maybe mid Nyx is also okay.
That'd be pretty cool. Whoa!
Well,
all right, guys, 9K Shadow Fiend, here we go. Let's see if he's been practicing those raises. Tell me what you think about this last pick here, Shadow Fiend.
Well, I mean, he's going to dominate his lane. I mean, this is the usual Drow plus range mid kind of setup. So, you get the early damage from the Drow aura, you rack up souls, and then once you hit level 3, like, you just bully the Storm out of lane because he cannot stand up against your raises. All
right. Well, there's been a lot of changes to this hero since I think I want to say it was like 6.82 through until like 6.84 or 5 when he really just fell out of there. The nerfs to the mana for the raises. is the only way to play him now the like Shadow Blade into Ags build that we see, or is it like Dragonlance pretty good on him still?
I'm just gonna say that this is entirely a player preference thing, because I feel like there are so many different ways you can play Shadow Fiend that it's just entirely up to the player. I think in this game though, I don't think Shadow Blade is a very good build here. I think you want to build like a really, really tanky kind of build. So potentially like, I don't know, Sanjin Yasha, BKB kind of build into Scotty, or even like, you know, Manta instead of SNY. There's a ton of different builds you can go on Shadow Fiend.
Yeah. Well, and I guess does like Dragonlance eventually with the Hurricane Pike with the Dragonlance eventually not like tanky enough for you as one of the items that he's gonna need? Or do you think
I think ideally you want to. There's a lot of potential for, you know, getting disabled and stuff like that. So like, I mean, there's Treant ulti, there's Silence from Earth Spirit, there's a potential Orchid pickup from Storm Spirit. So I think like Manta is probably one of your better choices, and then after that you just tank it up. Maybe go Satanic Butterfly or something like that.
Is KP gonna come out and steal the rune? The rest of the team has left Old Chicken getting away with thievery. KP, and they secure both of those bounty runes. I'm gonna steal that play, I think. It was nice.
I mean, that's really good play by KP, realizing that at level 1 there's really nothing they can do to stop him. So he just walks in, crushes whoever's trying to take the rune, and just grabs it for himself.
Yeah, and ehome trying to be obviously efficient. They don't leave the other heroes around, would be able to come in and, you know, mess with it. So it makes his lane a little bit more difficult, and a nice little start to the game for him. Mid lane, they're still prioritizing giving SC a lot of space as Kaka is rotated in. Is this just for the first couple of levels, or do you think that the Phoenix sticks around?
I think it's just for like the first level. He's just messing with them. I mean, he did this last game too.
Okay.
Definitely helps a lot.
Jeez, and already the damage going there onto Old Chicken. It is frustrating to deal with. The Necromastery first, always great if you can find those hits. And meanwhile, up top, Old 11. Is there a kill potential here in this lane? Oh,
I don't think
mid?
so. It's really hard.
Oh, SC missed a raise. There was a chance there he could have found him, but isn't going to happen. And now, with a salve coming out from Old Chicken, dropping the null tally on the ground as well for that maximum efficiency, as well as a little bit getting in his head. This actually becomes a little bit more difficult for him.
I think he's still fine right now. I mean, SC is doing a really good job at just keeping the equilibrium on his side, so there's not too much that Old Chicken can do to him right now.
Okay. Well, it's definitely a very tenuous matchup. I feel like both of these heroes are just such glass cannons and very little mobility. Meanwhile, KP taking a good bit of damage. And Old Lan, I'm thinking about even going for this one. He backs off at the moment.
Yeah, and there you go. I mean, once SC got his salve, now the tides have turned. Old Chicken is going to have a really rough time.
Okay. Now, over on the top rune, that was the Phoenix, able to sneak away the illusion rune. So easy peasy for the moment. Man, there's so many. I can just remember time and again getting destroyed by Shadow Fiend's mid. It's so frustrating to play against once it starts going into his favor. And right there, very low, could have gone for a possible walk forward right click, but quite get him there. Well, the rotation's in towards mid. Old 11 is here. They're going to rolling boulder forward. Missed that one. SC still taking a lot of damage. Are the rotations going to be enough to keep him alive? Trying to get away for the moment. There's the dive forward, still slowed, and is going to be killed. Old 11 draws first blood in the mid lane.
That was, I don't know if that was the right play. I feel like he should have just ran backwards as far as he could towards this tower, because he still had a fairy fire. But I don't know. I'm not too sure what he was going for there.
Unfortunate, definitely. He's still getting a decent start here out of this game. Sylar also with relative free farm. It always is scary giving that to a morph lane, but as far as Newbee are concerned, are they... Oh my god, look at the damage Tree is doing to KP here. He's just running at him. He actually has a creep wave as well, slowed down. KP, oof. It is a scary time indeed to be an offlaner.
96 damage, level 2.
Oh, top lane, Faith getting dove. 4 stacks there. Is going to be able to turn it back around, though, and Old 11's going to die to that. Garter also in some trouble. It's going to get dropped. It looks like that last arrow should go through. Not enough. 3 HP is going to deny himself to some neutrals. Oh, that hurts.
Well, they cut their losses, but that's still not very good for ehome. Because, you know, you lose your bat, and you just give Drow Ranger that much more space.
Invisibility.
Taking the invisibility rune, yeah, it's... So you feel like that's pretty okay for them, as SC is taunting in the mid lane. I mean, he did die once, though. I don't know if you're allowed to taunt if you die in the mid lane. Not sure what the rules are on that.
Oh, Old 11 stealing stacks. He's doing it. He's going for it.
Oh, glimpsed back in. Is he gonna get him? It looks like he did get those stacks in the end. A nice bit of gold going his direction, but he does die. Is that worth it for him?
I don't actually think so, but it's actually a tough call. I don't know the exact numbers.
Yeah.
I would say no, but I mean, he thought it was worth it, so.
I guess it is his second death, which makes it a little bit less palatable, but these things happen. Phoenix denies self to the neutral. Well, Faith is going to keep on getting the stacks going, and E9 will try and trade off to the best visibilities. The early laning stage, are you feeling... Oh my god, is Garter really going to die to that? Look at how much damage that Drow did. Maxing arrows.
I mean, this is a really good build because this is definitely how you beat a Bat Rider in lane. It's by having the Frost arrows to ensure that he can't close the gap. But, you know, going back to the whole stacking thing, like, even if he comes out ahead in gold, he's pretty high level, so you don't exactly want the supports to be that much quicker. Oh, I think
Oh, glimpse back. Yep, he's going to TP immediately. Good decision there. It was not going to end up dying to that, so they do force the TP back at the very least.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, he was level 5 when he died, so you don't exactly want the supports to be that much closer to level 6.
So what to you is, I mean, occasionally back in the day we would see Shadow Fiends go for a mechanism. Is that something that he might even think about in this game to try and allow the rest of his team to just like push around him? Might we see something like that coming out from the Shadow Fiend in the first?
It is definitely a potential build, but it really sucks to go mech right now because of the mana increase to raising. Like, your mana pool is just so bad when you buy mech, and you have to deal with the increased raise.
Okay. Well, less likely that we'll be seeing that one out of him. The early movement in here again. Old Chicken, level 6. They could find something if they rotate in some heroes, but it looks like instead, eyes up top, the roll from Garter is not going to connect onto U9, but the rotation comes back in now. They are going to get the Super or Sunray out, trying to keep U9 alive. They get the stick charges off. Dropping low is going to die, but they take out the Bat Rider first. I think that Kaka here might be in trouble. All right, stick charge pop again, rolling boulder. Oh, good rotation in. Blocks the boulder, and the raise comes from SC on the low ground. They find that kill.
I mean, after seeing Kaka's game, or Kaka's Phoenix last game, he's never going to be in trouble. He knows what he's doing. Look at that. 10 stick charges. He knew what was happening.
And I was kind of expecting more of the tree armor coming out from Lanham. I don't know if it was just like it was on cooldown at that point or what was going on, but I feel like that's what the purpose of this hero is, right?
Well, it's not only that, but I guess they think it's a good enough hero to zone out this Sargon on its own.
What just happened? He just rolling bowler folder and I missed it? Sorry about that, guys. T-Tours abound. But
he just hit his whole combo on the Phoenix.
Okay.
Unfortunately, because they don't know about this ward, so he assumed that he couldn't see him, but because they have that ward up there, he just hit his full combo while Kaka was really low.
Gotcha. My bad, guys. Well, KP's gonna head back home. Still a ways away from picking up that Blink Dagger, it's worth noting. He hasn't been able to get very much out of this off lane, and you compare that to the Bat Rider, who's gotten a whole heck of a lot. Is this something Newbee need to be worried about?
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I wouldn't say it's too bad because they are winning like in the other lanes, so it's not the worst. It's just kind of hard for KP to catch up because he's a Slargar. He has to make kills happen.
And they're looking for it right now. They catch the long-range glimpse. Old 11 in some trouble, but with the Invis rune, Old Chicken is here. On top of that, Drow Ranger, the gank E's become the ganked, and now Old 11 starting to run down KP. Actually dodges the flame break. Nicely played there, and turns around, wants to kill off that Bat Rider. Is going to be able to find it. Morphling shows up as well, starting to bring down Kaka on the other side of the fight. They killed off the Disruptor as well. So 3 heroes gone from Newbee, and ehome making it work.
Yeah, right as I mentioned, that KP needs, his teammates to help him catch up. They just lose 3. It's definitely not good for our Newbee. And because they have a Shadow Fiend mid too, it's really rough. Like, Shadow Fiend is just really good at, fighting with his massive net worth leads. And he's not quite there yet, so they have to wait for him until he can actually contribute much or contribute anything.
Oh god, this is a bold move by Kaka. He's obviously, you mentioned it earlier, knows the limits of this hero, but it's scary. And Garter setting up with his Rolling Boulder ready to go. They might think about going on this, but he's spotted out. SC sees him. There's the roll forward. Misses, but did get the silence onto Kaka. Still a little bit of a scary one. There's the dive forward. Slowed for the moment. The glimpse back, and that should be a kill onto the Earth Spirit. Well, maybe not. They get one raised. Yeah, there's the second one. No way he was getting out of there. And Phoenix gets the kill.
Something to mention is that I guess Shadow Fiend was picked to sort of counteract this Treant armor, because Treant armor only blocks a certain amount of damage, so if you're going to raise, you're still going to take a huge chunk of damage.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
That does make sense. Well, with the laning stage now getting over, with the net worth starting to swing up for these cores of Newbee, and the tier 1 tower starting to fall in the top lane as well. Oh my god, down in the bottom lane. U9 was farming out the stacks, and Old 11 found him, trying to gust away. Does he get denied by neutrals? He does! Oh my god, that was close.
That is so unfortunate for Old 11. I would be so mad right now if that happened, because that was definitely a kill for him, and that would have been his Blink Dagger.
Yeah, and furthermore, he doesn't actually have the mana right now to farm up this stack, so it's going to take him a little while longer to finish that off. He definitely wants to get it before he goes back home.
Man, that really sucks for him.
The smoke.
But I mean, overall, it's not that bad for ehome right now. They might have lost the mid lane, but it's not that significant. Storm is still, he's only 1,000 net worth behind.
This is the rotation in to try and take down Sylar. They are gonna. Oh my god, there's no tier 1 tower either. He is so dead. Silence dropped on his head and he falls. Man, that smoke rotation, well worth it.
Yeah, really good play coming out of Newbee, making use of that Disruptor ulti. They should definitely do this every time as well, because there's very little they can do to save people from this Glimpse ultimate combo.
It's a rough one indeed. And this whole time, KP's getting the farm to start building towards that Blink Dagger, just enable them to push that much more quickly. U9 Dragonlance completed, tier 2 towers starting to take damage. I mean, they've got tree armor, but I don't know if they can stop this.
Well, you mentioned the Shadow Blade build. That is what he's going. So that is his pick for Shadow Fiend.
All right, I haven't seen a lot of Shadow Fiend in competitive. Is Ags at all worth it? Is that just awful?
I honestly have never seen it played competitively. I don't think it's very good, but okay. It's just one of those. Shadow Fiend's just one of those heroes. Like I said, it comes down to player preference. If SC thinks it's a good item, I'm gonna believe him. I'm gonna follow his build.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, like, at the end of the day, it's very much a, player preference, as you said, and it feels like if you're going for Shadow Blade, you're already prioritizing getting a really good Requiem off, so maybe you just make your Requiem that much more potent. But Newbee now moving in towards Roshan, and ehome, can they come and contest this, really? Oh god, there's the dive forward. Garter in some trouble. They are going to throw out the stun, connects onto 2, but I think this glimpse back is definitely going to be the death of them as they bring in the rest of the heroes, secondary raise, and they find that kill.
This should be a Roshan as well. They're right next to the pit. They have everyone up. Really good pick off right there.
It's like ehome actually want to contest this, though. One of the few things that remained unnerfed about taking Roshan was the presence of the Dark Lord coming out from Shadowfiend. He only has the 1 point in it, but -3 armor and all the other ones. They jump forward, catch onto Old 11, breaking the Big Dagger. Requiem comes out. Was just a little bit of extra damage dealt there, and Kaka is going to be brought back. He gets the sun off. Oh my god, they jump forward, the silence down onto all of them as well. Sylar's gone, Old Chicken. Oh my god, that was such a huge sun.
Kaka is Kaka God.
Wow, that was unreal. He must have been on just no life there. Got it off at the last second, and man, Newbee win that fight so hard. He does end up dying in the end, but still, that puts them into such a bad position where they fight in the middle of a static storm. Oh my god.
How does Kaka do it? Is this the Asian math coming through? Is he calculating this?
He's calculating everything, absolutely. Faith is going to get jumped upon here. U9 silenced. They turn back around, trying to do whatever right-click damage they can, and, well, the glimpse away. Old 11's not going to be with them. Nice TP for U9. That was so good. So he gusts as the glimpse comes out, and then they're able to not break the TPs.
Radiant's middle tower.
They were probably a little too hyped after winning that team fight. Just a little careless, but still big victory for Newbee, winning the Roshan fight.
And SC now also. Shadow Blade. He's got that completed. It allows him to escape away for the moment from that Bat Rider who's coming in to mess in. And God, I'm sort of tingling after that sun. I blew my mind. I totally thought that he was dead, and I was gonna go awful for Newbee, but
I couldn't even see his life, but I mean, this is not the first time he's done it. This is like 3 or 4 times consecutively where he's just, you know, almost about to die, and then all of a sudden Supernova comes out. So, I mean, I'm pretty convinced that he's just working this out in his head. Obviously, Faith had a huge part to play in that because he glimpsed the Bat Rider immediately as he lassoed Kaka, I believe.
Right, he did, yeah. And also, I mean, well, they found Guardian. Oh no, he was back over there. The smoke broke and they spotted him from the low ground. They will throw out a stun, which connects onto the Drow. But man, all right, value Requiem. He just gums forward, throws it out there, and now Sylar in some trouble. They do get the tree ulti, pulling everybody back into them, looking for the raises. Still slowed. They are going to kill off Old Lana. Meanwhile, Drow Ranger takes down the Morphling, and now the Tier 1 tower is sure to fall. They are killing all of them. Everybody is dying on ehome's team, and
I think there's going to be one more. The glimpse. Yeah, here we go.
Oh God! Old 11 goes down. When it rains, it pours. And right now, Shanghai is a typhoon. Newbee doing it.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Just overall, really good play coming out of Newbee. Like, you know, finding people out. I mean, who was it that went onto the high ground to see where Guardian was hiding? And they just got a free pick off, and then it was so difficult for ehome to fight. And Kaka just a perfect Supernova setup. They couldn't do anything about it, and they just had to run away. And then Newbee just pick them off one by one.
Wow. And I mean, you look right now at this Storm Spirit. You talked about him having a bad lane, and it really has sort of translated into a rough mid game for him. And it's all, I don't know. The Requiem of Souls has actually been huge to start all of the fights, even if it's not a ton of damage. That, you know, everything else that comes about with this ability here.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's so much utility surrounding it. Everyone just always assumes it's, you know, it's just a huge damage thing, but they seem to forget that it also reduces damage and slows people as well. It's definitely a very powerful ability, like you mentioned.
Old 11 looking for the pickoff, but a Shadow Blade away, and there's nothing to really stop it. Although Kaka is left alone here. Oh, dive forward, the turnaround crush. Old 11 in some trouble. He's caught in the storm again. And they glimpse back Lanham, looking for the catch. They're not going to be able to get him, it looks like.
No detection, unfortunately, but still a huge pickoff. Just by taking out the Bat Rider, it just makes it impossible for ehome to fight. So it's another free tower for them.
Man, it has just been a very, I mean, you look at the net worth graph, a huge drop-off, 7,500 net worth lead, right around 6,000 experience, and the items that are going to start to come up, you've got the Silver Edge now on Shadowfiend.
Not only does he have that, he also picked up a Dragon Lance on top.
Oh my God, they found Sylar. He's dropping. He has a good amount of ability to switch over to strength for him. Oh, but he ends up going down again. Shadow Fiend with the right click.
You know, just the casual 360 damage right click.
Oh, man. You know, you talked about Kaka and how great of like an individual plays he's making. The thing that blows my mind about this guy is he's also the drafter and the guy making the in-game calls. Like, how nuts is that? Oh god, turnaround crush. Old 11 dodges the roll as well from Guardian. In some trouble now. Oh, they've got the gust, they got the silence, they got the right clicks. He's going down. ehome. It feels like, oh my goodness, what are they even going to do to stop this? Old 11 dropped, 3-shot by the Shadow Fiend. SC throws out the Requiem of Souls. They've got the Supernova, and Lanham's going to drop. There is no stopping him. Oh, KP feeling himself, takes it down, and GG, 19 minutes.
What a stomp. Newbee made this look so easy. They just steamrolled them.
Oh. So is Newbee back? Is that what we're saying?
I mean, they didn't. Technically, they never have gone anywhere, right? I mean, they got second at MDL. That's nothing to scoff at. These guys are really, really good. I can tell you that much.
I am so impressed. And it's not like these are bad players that they're playing against. It's ehome. I mean, Sylar, Morphling, you've got all of these heroes on. I mean, maybe the tree was a little bit weird. Is there anything that you would switch up in the draft, or is it just that Newbee is making the right moves? Do you just ban Drow maybe?
I think you should definitely ban Drow, but at the same time, I feel like there was something lacking in their draft that just makes them a little weak in the early game, because there's really not much damage coming out of anyone in the early game. You have a Bat Rider who kind of has to, you know, do that damage over time. The only person who really offers you that kind of burst damage is the Storm, and the Storm had a really, really lousy matchup to begin with. So I think overall the draft was slightly weak in terms of early game. And if the early game doesn't go well, then they're not going to have a mid game to fight against. And as you saw, they just got steamrolled.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for joining us. Be sure to give us a follow and a shout out on Twitter and any other social media site that you feel so inclined, at Lyrical Dota, at Eosin Dota. Give us some feedback. We'd like to know what we can do to make the cast better for all you fine folks out there. But be sure to keep on following this tournament, Shanghai Dota 2 Open, as well as the company bringing all this BTS. Thanks again, and we'll be back in just a little bit. Game number 2, ehome facing off against Newbee.